All right, thank you everyone for joining us. Welcome to the Kick Off Your Solar Decathlon Competition webinar. We are so excited to have you here today, and we are just excited to be kicking off kind of the Solar Decathlon season for the year. With me today, I have Holly Carr, our wonderful Solar Decathlon Director from the U.S. Department of Energy. Myself, I am Rachel Romero. I am from NREL and I am your Design Challenge Competition Manager. And Michael Young, also from NREL and your Build Challenge Competition Manager. We are going to be covering a lot of information today. We will be recording this and we'd be happy to take your questions along the way. So please feel free to use the chat as we go along. This webinar is really for anyone who has interest in applying to participate in the Solar Decathlon, has applied to the Solar Decathlon, has competed before, or new teams. So we're really excited to have you here today. We are going to be covering some of the details of the Solar Decathlon, why this hands-on experience is so important and so valuable for students. We'll also be going over a few resources for the teams. Then we'll be going over specifically the 2022 Design Challenge and the 2023 Build Challenge individually, so you can understand the differences between the two and the timelines. Then we're going to discuss what you need to do to succeed and where to get started and what next steps you should take in the Solar Decathlon. Again, we'd love to take your questions along the way, so feel free to add those to the chat. And with that, I'll turn it over to our esteemed competition director, Holly Carr. Holly?
Thanks, Rachel. Everybody hear me okay, Rachel? You know, we've been having some trouble with my audio. So great to have all of you here with us today. I will reiterate Rachel's excitement about getting this next cycle of Solar Decathlon started. And you can see here a quote from our Energy Secretary, Jennifer Granholm. If any of you were involved in the competition event we just held in April, you will remember Secretary Granholm's excitement and enthusiasm and her description of our work to address the climate crisis as a decathlon, and the analogy between our event and what many of us are working towards at a broader level. And very similar to the work that we do in the Solar Decathlon, it's a race, it's a long race, it's not a sprint. And it has many events and many aspects to it, and you have to be successful in all of those aspects, all of those contests, as you'll hear about later, to be successful. So we'll tell you a little bit more about all of those elements as we go through the session. So next slide, please. So as many of you, I'm sure, already know, the Solar Decathlon is a collegiate competition comprised of 10 contests. We challenge our student teams to design and build super efficient, high performance buildings, low carbon buildings that are powered by renewables. And everything that we do in this competition focused on our student teams is toward that end and helping our students become capable of getting that done, not only as students, but as professionals in the working world. Next slide, please. So just want to take a moment and note the illustrious history of the Solar Decathlon. One more slide back. There we go. So this is a really special year for us coming up. This is the 20th anniversary of the Solar Decathlon in 2022 with our 2022 event. The Solar Decathlon kicked off in 2002. We started off with 14 teams. We started off with that same goal of building homes that are completely powered by renewables. I will say when those homes first came to the National Mall in 2002 and were displayed and open to the public, it was really like UFOs coming down on the National Mall. this was really a new and really unheard of thing for these homes to be built and completely powered by renewables. We have moved into a new phase. After 20 years of doing this with students, we have made a lot of improvements and updates to the program. We now have a design challenge as well as the original build challenge. We have built over 150 homes. We've had over 2 million visits to these homes, both in person for the majority of the history of the event, as well as our virtual Solar Decathlon virtual village, which we built last year. Over 23,000 students have participated in the US event alone. As you may know, we have 6 international events as well that have impacted tens of thousands of students around the world. And our US events have been represented by 35 countries in those US events over the past 20 years. So incredible impact. We're looking forward to celebrating that impact that the program has had over the past 20 years, and really looking forward this spring as we celebrate what we hope will be decades and decades of Solar Decathlon and impact for these students. Next slide, please. So I mentioned build challenge and design challenge and the structure that has changed over time. This is a great visual to show you that. The build challenge represented on the right-hand side with the orange square is the traditional program that started in 2002, where student teams design and build homes and compete them nationally. As you'll learn throughout this webinar, we are moving the build challenge to a local build format, meaning that all of those homes will be built locally in their communities and will continue to be competed nationally. And we'll talk more about that as the session continues. The design challenge on the left-hand side is a design-only competition. So whereas the build challenge is a 2-year endeavor, the design challenge is an annual event. It includes both residential and commercial divisions. So students can design multifamily office building and education building projects on the commercial side through the design challenge. We'll talk a little bit more about the design challenge divisions and the changes I think are really exciting that we've made to this program. And then the 10 contests on the bottom. So both design and build challenge both compete on the same 10 contests, which you can see noted there. I will call out that embodied environmental impact contest, which is the newest contest we've added, really looking at the full life cycle of these buildings, not just their operational performance, but the environmental impact from materials, transportation of materials, construction, operational performance, obviously, and end of life for these buildings. So getting much broader in our consideration of the impact of these buildings. Next slide, please. So here we really are hoping to provide an incredible experience for our student teams, all of your students participating this year. Our goal here at the heart and soul of this program has always been to serve our students and to help them learn the skills that they need to design and build these buildings when they move into their professional careers. So that has always been our goal. That'll always be our #1 focus, is providing this rich experience for our student teams. And with that, I'm going to turn it over, I believe, to Michael, who will take you through details.
Thank you, Holly. And before I get started, I just want to echo the excitement from Rachel and Holly about kicking off this new 2022 Design Challenge and 2023 Build Challenge. We're very excited to have you all here and can't wait to get started. So in this section, we're going to talk about participating in the Solar Decathlon and how it's such a hands-on experience. So we can go to the next slide. So why should you participate? First of all, you can gain real-world design experience by taking a project from what starts as an initial concept all the way through each stage of the design process, and for the build challenge, taking that from design all the way through finished construction. It's really the real world experience of what you'd be doing in a professional design and build process, which makes this process and this participation in this event so unique. You can learn from world-class thought leaders with the opportunities that the SOAR Decathlon provides to interact with industry experts, with national lab researchers, with faculty and students from across the country and across the world, and more. You can prepare for your careers in the clean energy fields by learning outside of the classroom and applying all those skills to this real world project that I mentioned a moment ago. You can work with a multidisciplinary team. In the past, over the years, we have seen SOAR Decathlon teams that not only include architecture and engineering students, but marketing, business, finance and economics, communications, interior design, construction, and more. So these teams really bring students together from across your university, across your college, to work together on a team and share different perspectives and different ideas. You can drive innovation in the building industry. For almost 20 years, as Holly has mentioned, the SOAR Decathlon teams have contributed innovative ideas to building designs for a long list of different target markets, different building types. In the Build Challenge, they tested early phase technologies. And as the Decathlon has evolved over the years, student teams have responded to the challenge of new contests and new focus areas. And finally, you can develop critical career skills by learning about building science, financial analysis, teamwork, presentation, and more. And we've heard from our participants so much great feedback about their experience. Over 90% of our recent participants said they would recommend the SOAR Decathlon to their peers. And again, over 90% of our faculty have stated that this competition has helped their students learn more than their typical coursework. So as you can see here, we have a few examples of students from the Design Challenge and the Build Challenge. We have a faculty quote here as well, just talking about how profound of an experience this has been. You see students talking about this allowed them to grow as a future building designer, exposing them to different experiences. Students talking about learning about renewable energy and sustainability and applying it to buildings for one of these, again, a real world project. And so with this, these testimonials, with these quotes and what I mentioned on the last slide about why you should participate, this is just the very beginning of some of the opportunities you can have. But why else should you participate in the SOAR Decathlon? We can go to the next slide. So we have a number of resources and opportunities that are provided to participants as part of the SOAR Decathlon. One of which is our building science education course, which is required for participants to go through this course and learn about everything from the fundamentals of energy and power and the terms you're going to need to know to speak the language of energy and buildings. And it takes this step by step to build a strong foundation in building science. And you learn about the fundamentals of building design, of zero energy building design, with quizzes along the way that test your knowledge. And one of the really unique things about this course is that we designed it to be very easy to digest. It's short 5 to 15 minute episodes that are easy to sit down and watch in a short amount of time. Faculty members can use them as part of classroom lectures and classroom teaching. And so this is just one resource that helps bring every student involved in the competition along the way to learn all of these different pieces of building science and zero energy design. Next slide. We also have the mentor program, which is an optional resource for teams, but it's a great opportunity to be paired with Solar Decathlon alumni. These are past students who participated in the design challenge or the build challenge, who can be paired up with you as a student team in this upcoming competition to provide feedback on technical and non-technical elements of the competition. Advise the team on your direction, your deliverables, sharing their experience and their best practices and how they learned the best way to succeed through their experience in the competition. Again, this is great for first-time teams, and we actually have some quotes here that talk about how helpful it was to have this insight from someone who had recently been through it themselves. We also have, on the next slide, another opportunity, which is, we're calling it design partners, which are, it's a limited list of project opportunities offered by industry partners who are providing a planned project from their portfolio, and they would like to work with one of our collegiate teams to develop a zero energy design alternative. And you can learn more about these design partners and the posted project opportunities on our website. But these opportunities are a real chance to get together with real clients, real industry partners in the local community. Again, take this real world design process a little bit further to work with people that are actually out there in the industry right now doing this and learn more from their best practices. And these are, like I said, there's going to be a limited list of these partners and projects provided through the competition, but we encourage all teams to also find their own partnerships and make their own connections in their local community beyond this alone. So this is would not be a requirement, but it is another opportunity and another resource that we provide. And I believe that might be the last of my slides here. Yeah, so I will pass it back to Rachel.
Great, thank you, Michael. So now that we've talked about kind of some of the resources that are available to both, you need to choose a challenge. Your team needs to choose a challenge. And I love this quote: "The competition will change your life, both professionally and personally. Embrace it." We've seen, no matter what challenge you choose, we've seen lives changed from this. So let's help you get into the right challenge. For a design challenge, this is a design and present. Whereas in the build challenge, you are going to design, build, operate, and then present. And so more involved, or and the timeline is reflected on this. So for the design challenge, it is a shorter timeline commitment. Some teams will do this in a quarter or a semester, and some teams may start in the fall. We definitely encourage teams starting as soon as they can. This gives you time to absorb the building science education that Michael was talking about, and to build that multidisciplinary team that Holly discussed. The build challenge is 2 academic years, starting now through 2023. Design challenge does offer commercial building types if you're interested in that. And both design and build challenges offer residential. So if you're interested in commercial, the design challenge is maybe a better fit. Industry engagement. So as Michael stated, design partners and mentors are available to both of our teams. Industry may also help build challenge with some hands-on support for building. And that varies team to team. And when you sign up for the build challenge, Michael and the build challenge organizers will help you understand and get more information on where that goes. In terms of exhibition or exhibiting your project, the design challenge does presentations to jurors and mainly is internal unless you and your team choose to do otherwise. The Build Challenge will have local community exhibitions at the completion of the project and public presentations. So just different exhibit activities. The financial resources required for the design challenge are mainly travel to NREL in Golden, Colorado for the competition event, which we'll be talking about shortly, and time for faculty leadership. The financial resources for the Build Challenge are a little bit more, and we encourage you to work with your institution, collegiate institution, to do that. So building a house, you will want to travel to multiple events over the 2 academic years, as well as allot time for faculty leadership and other items. The design challenge does not provide financial resources, and the Build Challenge is very excited to be able to provide $50,000 in prize funding for up to 20 teams at the start of construction. And Michael will talk a bit more about that when he gets into his section. So now I will take you through the 2022 Design Challenge. We are so excited to be talking about some changes from previous years. And we are excited to welcome both our returning teams and maybe some new teams this year. So for the divisions, as Holly mentioned, we have 6 divisions. We will be taking up to 10 finalist teams in each division. We have a lot of existing building stock, and to reflect the need to take our building stock to zero energy buildings, we have added retrofit housing this year as a division in itself. We're really excited about the opportunities here for teams to compete in that. I'm really looking at all the building systems in an existing home and bringing them to zero energy standards and efficiency, and supplementing with renewables, as this is a problem our nation needs to tackle as a whole. So therefore, new housing gets set on its own and will be competing as a division itself. Some other exciting things, I hope you'll open the rules, which we'll post the link to. Thank you to Taylor. I would encourage you to look at the definitions for multifamily office and education. These building types have been expanded to allow for more flexibility to work with a design partner. Multifamily buildings are taller. Office building, you can have up to 50% other space, whether that be retail, laboratory space. You think of it, we'd love to have it. Education building, we've expanded the definition to allow for any sector of pre-K through 12. So you want to do pre-K through 5th grade, you can do that. So we'd encourage you to take a look at the definitions and ask the organizers if you have questions. I'll briefly go over the competition timeline, which is outlined further in the rules. So we have released the rules, and the next big deadline is on October 26th. You need to submit a team application. You do not need to wait until October 26th. You can complete that team application today, and we'll put some links in later on that. The team application is just to state that you are interested, and you'll also need to submit a $50 application fee to make that commitment. At any time, though, you can start work on your project. We will have it on September 16th, the Ready, Set, Solo Decathlon event. We will be talking again about what the Solo Decathlon is and really trying to do some breakout rooms to connect and get your questions answered. So I'd encourage you to read the rules and get ready for that. An optional project summary is due on November 30th. And then on February 22nd, 2022 is the semifinal submission. It is going to be a presentation this year and a project summary. And then we're going to have you present to a set of early jurors to select our finalists. We will have our competition event in April 22nd through 24th, and we hope to be seeing you in person next year. I want to talk a little bit more about the semifinal event. This is February 25th through 26th. And playing off the ability to do virtual, we are going to have our jurors this year select finalist teams. So there'll be a short presentation from each of our participating teams, and we'll get to hear that, and then our jurors will down select. There will also be an opportunity to have connect with our industry experts during our Career Connections event, where you can share your resume and potentially discuss open positions with some of our industry partners. We do conclude with the competition event, April 22nd through 24th. All participant teams are invited to participate. Finalist teams are invited to participate in person. This will be at NREL, and our finalist teams will present their designs and winners will be announced. And we really hope that you'll be able to connect with industry experts at that event. So with that, I'll turn it over to Michael to give you some of the details on the 2023 Build Challenge.
Thanks, Rachel. So I think we can dive right into the next slide. The Build Challenge is what it sounds like. It's a design build competition. So this takes, this is that original traditional sort of decathlon format that started back in 2002 and has evolved quite a bit over the years, but it still finishes with a fully constructed home. The differences are that now we are building these homes in your local community. We're calling it the local build format. And so over this 2-year competition, you will design a house, build it in your local community, operate it as we measure it for its performance, and exhibit it to the community to share this success and share everything you've learned and everything you've done with your local community. And so this local build format helps provide greater access to industry. There are a lot of opportunities that come from building a permanent structure in your local community where you can partner with local industry partners. You can work with local media to get the word out about your project, work with your university to share your successes. The local build also lowers the commitment from your collegiate institution. This is off the campus, well, not necessarily. It can be off the campus, but it's less commitment. You're not fundraising to transport a house across the country to Washington, D.C., where it would have happened in the past at a local event, at a centralized event, I'm sorry. And also with the local build, the permanency of the structure allows for more long-term purpose of the house. And so, as Rachel mentioned, the other elements here are that the Department of Energy is providing $50,000 in prize funding for up to 20 of our competing Build Challenge teams, which we'll talk more about here in a moment, about when that happens and some of the other details. And through this, students can learn through these partnerships with industry and gain that local, that national, and that international recognition by being part of the Solar Decathlon. So on the next slide, we're going to look at the timeline. And as I said, this is a 2-year competition. So this would be year 1, which starts right now, similarly to the design challenge that Rachel just talked about. The applications and the Build Challenge rules were released in July, and the applications are due by October 26th. And you can click that link, start your application, and submit any time between now and October 26th. And again, along the way on September 16th, we will have that Ready, Set, Solar Decathlon event to tell you more about the resources that are provided to teams, talk about the mentor program, share some words of wisdom and some other experiences, and that'll be really helpful to help get you started. And then so along the way in this first year, this is really the design phase of the Build Challenge, where some of the deliverables along the way will be a project introduction in November, a project management plan in February, and then construction documentation on March 29th, which leads to your design presentation of what you're preparing to build. And this is what would be presented to a panel of industry experts at that same 2022 Solar Decathlon competition event at NREL in Colorado, where the Build Challenge teams are presenting to this panel of jurors to not only receive approval to proceed to construction, but of those teams that receive approval to proceed, as I mentioned before, up to 20 of those teams will be selected for that $50,000 in prize funding. And this funding can go towards anything in the construction phase of the house. And we believe the timing of this is really, really helps because you're at the end of design, probably have not begun construction yet, and can really take this as a jumping off point to year 2 of the Build Challenge, which we'll show here, that really encompasses the construction phase of the project. So after that April 2022 event, the teams that have received approval to proceed to construction will move into that construction phase over the summer and into the fall semester of 2022. Along the way, again, we have deliverables for permit documentation, construction progress, sharing with us how things are going. And then by February of 2023 is when construction should be completed so that we can do measurements of the performance of your house over our measured contest period between February 17th and March 17th of 2023. During this period, we will measure 4 of our contests that are measuring the actual performance of the house, how it works, how it operates, how it functions, to provide energy efficiency, to provide a comfortable indoor environment for its occupants, and more. Beyond this, there is the local exhibition period, which follows that measured contest period to allow teams to exhibit their homes to the local community by offering tours, local media engagements, sharing your story with your community, with the rest of the competing teams, and with the country as a whole, as we elevate this communication to more people. And this all then leads into the April 2023 competition event, where the 2023 Build Challenge would conclude with presentations to more panels of industry experts for each of the other juried contests of the competition. And overall, the winner of the competition will be selected here. Again, along the way, there are a number of deliverables leading into that, and more of these details can be found in our rules document, which I believe has been posted to the chat, but it's also available on our website. I think we can move to the next slide. And so I mentioned a little bit about this, but here's some more information about the competition event. Again, in the Build Challenge, this 2-year cycle would go through 2 of these April competition events. The first of which comes at the midpoint of the Build Challenge in April 2022, where all participating teams would present their designs to industry experts to receive that approval to proceed to the construction phase. Up to 20 of those teams would receive this $50,000 in prize funding. And with this event being planned in person with presentations and a bunch of other interaction at the National Renewable Energy Laboratory in Golden, Colorado, you would get a chance to tour our world-class facilities there and connect with industry experts. And then, as I mentioned, the second of these events in 2023 would be the final presentations where we determine the winner of the 2023 Build Challenge. Next slide. And so I alluded to a little bit of this, but for the Build Challenge, the evaluation process covers the 10 contests of the decathlon, as we have mentioned previously. But each of these 10 contests are scored on a scale of 100 points each. So it's 1,000 points total. And at the end of the competition, the team with the most points wins. These 10 contests are broken down into 4 measured contests that assess the performance of the house in that measurement period that we just looked at. And there are 6 juried contests that are evaluated from presentations that you do to, you provide these presentations to a jury of industry experts for each of these 6 contests. And these presentations would occur at that 2023 event. And again, over the course of these 10 contests, as we add up all the points, the team with the most points is the winner. Next slide. So to summarize and to conclude on the Build Challenge, it's a 2-year competition going from now through April 2023 with the local build format that we piloted in our 2020 Build Challenge, but this is our first year of fully providing this local build format that allows permanent structures being built in your local community with greater access to industry, less commitment from your collegiate institution. You're not transporting a home and reassembling it at some central event location. It's being built permanently in your local community, which allows for more of a long-term purpose for the house. You can see examples of how some of these local builds occurred in our 2020 Build Challenge on our website, and you can also access the virtual village from 2020 that shows a little bit more about each of those teams. And now I think we move into how to get started. So we've provided you with a lot of information here about resources, about the design challenge, about the build challenge, how to compare the two and where to go with your selection. But where do you begin? How do you get started? So first, secure support. We encourage you to go get the resources you need. Once your application is complete, we will reach out to you about our mentor program, trying to help connect you with a SOAR Decathlon alumni to provide that feedback and that insight and engagement with you on the project as you go from design, from initial concept through the design, and with build all the way through the end of construction. Also with industry partnerships, these are partnerships that you create in your local community, opportunities that you find with local companies and professionals who provide technical feedback to your team. And then finally, the design partners that are these opportunities to partner with industry builders, industry firms that have projects ready to go that they want to partner with the SOAR Decathlon team. And as we mentioned earlier, that information is on our website, and we'll provide more in the near future on these opportunities. Next slide. And then again, coming up, we have the Ready, Set, SOAR Decathlon event, which is a really interactive event that'll occur virtually on September 16th for anyone interested in learning more about the SOAR Decathlon. So if you're here today, if you're watching this webinar, the Ready, Set, SOAR Decathlon event will be different. We encourage you to also join that and learn more about everything there is to know about Solar Decathlon. There will be an overview of the competition structure and expectations. We'll talk about resources available to support our teams, including the building science education, software resources that are provided to teams, more about the mentor program. We will have words of wisdom from some alumni who will speak on their experience in the design challenge and the build challenge. We'll have a panel of experienced faculty members to share their lessons learned and their best practices. And again, no prior knowledge is needed. Anyone who's interested can attend this event, and the registration is already open. You can register today using the link that Amanda just put in the chat, or on our website at solardecathlon.gov. And this is also an opportunity to ask us questions before you apply. So really some great information, and it'll be a really great event. Now I'm passing it to Rachel for some more information about what's next.
Thanks, Michael. Great overview of build and where to get started. So the team application, we do have 2 team application sites. You can look, we'll put some links in the chat again in case you joined a little late, but both of these blue and orange buttons are on the front page of solardecathlon.gov if you're looking for it. If you're even remotely interested or thinking about putting together a team, I would encourage you to click these links today and register. That puts your email in our system that allows you to get our emails starting now. So I encourage you, you don't need to fill anything out when you get in there. Just fill out the register page with your information. You're welcome to add other students. Maybe you have a team lead today for the challenge that's interested and ready to go. Start getting the emails, get in the system, and I encourage you to do that today. You've made a first step to show your interest in Solar Decathlon, and it would be so helpful for you to just get that connection with us. So you'll note you have the 22 design challenge page and the 23 build challenge page. There are 2 different sites and 2 different links, but
I'm not sure I understand.
make sure you get your application in by October 26th, and it's 5 p.m. Eastern. So get that in beforehand. We love to see early applications so that you don't miss the deadline. All right, some next steps after this webinar today. Please learn more at solardecathlon.gov. We have so many resources. We have past team presentations, past team submittals. The virtual village is on there that Michael mentioned for you to go walk around and see these past builds. There's so much information in there. Learn from our alumni who have written up blogs about what they're doing today. So I'd encourage you to go out to the website and get more information. Definitely read the rules. We want you to make sure you can see those and get going. And then register for the Ready Set Solar Decathlon event on September 16th. That link was also posted, and get your application in. So that we have some excellent questions coming in. And I am gonna send the first one to Michael. Michael, what happens if I have a design that I want to build? How can I move into the build challenge?
Great question. Designs, so there's a couple answers here, I guess. Designs that go through the design challenge that you as a team realize you have connections, you have partners, and you're ready to build that design that you took through the design challenge. We offer an on-ramp into the 2023 build challenge for successful 2022 design challenge teams who are ready to build and would like to compete in that build challenge. If you have a design that you're ready to build that is not part of the design challenge and you're ready now, we can talk more about that if you'd like to connect with us. There's some details around the flexibility for the timing of construction for the 2023 Build Challenge. We don't require everyone to finish construction right at the same time, but for the measurement period and for the local community exhibitions in the spring of 2023, we do have some requirements around when you can complete the construction. So if you'd like to talk more about that, whoever that question was, please feel free to reach out to us and we can talk more about those details.
Great. Thank you, Michael. And I'd encourage you, Solar Decathlon at nrel.gov. We are monitoring that and would be happy to connect with you for that specifically. The next one is, are there plans to expand the list of project or potential design partners? So I'll take that one actually. We do have a select few of design partners. They are posted on our website. Currently, we only have one project listed. This particular design partner actually, though, would like to work with multiple collegiate institutions. So if that project is appealing to you, I'd encourage you to reach out to that design partner. We do have limited opportunities. Last year, we had about 5 or 6 total. And so if you know someone who has a project, we would be happy to post that. But I don't anticipate having too many. Holly, do you want to say anything else to that?
Yeah, I would. Generally, we are encouraging all project teams to find a design partner and to be working with an actual project, an actual construction project. They do not have to build your design, but working with a builder or a developer who has project requirements can add a lot of real world experience into these projects. So in previous years, we've done some matchmaking where we reached out and tried to bring design partners in. And what we found is it works a lot better if the individual teams are doing outreach in their own communities to find their own project and design partners. So while we have this one project up, we may have a few more that pop up of people that reach out to us. What we encourage is for all design challenge teams to find their own design partner. We don't require that in the competition, but we strongly encourage.
Great, thank you, Holly. All right, where are the quizzes that go with the building science education modules? And is there a way for faculty to track students' progress or quizzes on the models? Michael, do you want to discuss that?
So the building science education for Solar Decathlon students with the quizzes is hosted on an online learning platform that takes you through the videos, the quizzes, the different resources. And students will receive a certificate of completion at the end of the course. It says they passed all the quizzes and they've successfully completed everything. Faculty can track that. And there are other ways that your students can share progress with you as faculty, and ways that we could share progress as well as organizers. But all of the quizzes are located within that platform. So it's all in one place.
Great. And you can gain access to that platform by registering on the team application site. So that is another reason to get registered on the team application site as soon as you are ready. I mean, there's no reason why you can't do it today. So go check that out. Let's see here. Next question, and feel free to add more to the chat. If we do not get to your questions, we will make sure that we get to you. Do you know when the specific requirements for the November 30 Build Challenge introduction will be posted? Is this different from the 2020 project proposal information? I think that's Build. Go ahead, Michael.
So in our rules document that is available on our website and has been posted to the chat here, the 2023 Build Challenge rules has some details on each of the deliverables and the requirements that we are asking for in each of them. So I would encourage you to look at the rules, read through the contest, but also read through each of those deliverables to understand more about what's required at each of those different deadlines and checkpoints along the way.
Michael, can the team build the house on the college campus?
Yes, you can definitely build a house on the college campus, and you can work with your institution on that partnership as well, to make that connection, to build that house. And for the competition, it does have to be built and operated like a house, but there are no requirements for how the house is used after the competition. We've seen houses be used, and sold to actual residents where people now live in them. And some houses are now used for research, for community tours, for office space even. And so yes, you can definitely build on your college campus.
Great. The next question is, some students have completed the building science education during the last competition. Do we have to redo it for this year's competition? I will say to that, we do require the students take it to get the base. I will leave that up to the faculty advisor if they want to have people take it over again or will accept the certificate. We will hopefully have some new modules this year, and the overall program was completed during the competition year last year. So please make sure that they've completed all of it. And that's the responsibility of the faculty advisor. Great questions. I love the breadth of these questions. They're wonderful. Are there requirements around team members applying for this competition? Number of graduate, undergraduate faculty advisors. All right, so in terms of team organization, you need a faculty lead. You need at least one. We require this so that teams have the support of the collegiate institution that they are competing for. Design challenge teams, and I'll let Michael speak to build challenge teams. Design challenge teams then need at least 3 students. This is a project. It is not a light undertaking. So we want to ensure that there's enough team members to give that multidisciplinary teaming and learning experience to a team. You can have other faculty advisors as well participate, and that's encouraged if that's how your school sets this up. There is no requirements on undergraduate versus graduate. The Design Challenge asks teams to have degree-seeking students competing. Michael?
Yeah, and for Build Challenge, it's very similar where we do require that faculty lead, and our minimum number of students involved is really to help make sure that there are individual team officers or team leads for architecture and engineering and safety and measured contests and community exhibition and more. Those are all detailed in our rules. But again, as far as undergraduate and graduate, no requirements there. Although we do recommend that with the Build Challenge being a 2-year competition, that we have seen in the past that some element of continuity is really key to success. So whether that is a graduate student acting as the team lead over the entire 2-year course, or some other element of continuity in the team membership, that can be really helpful to ensure success all the way through the finish line. Rachel, I think you're muted.
Great, thank you, Michael. All right, great questions. We'd be happy to take more questions at solodecathlon@nl.gov. Holly, I'll just ask you one more question. What are you particularly excited about for the next 2 years of competition?
You're going to regret asking me that question because I have a long list of things I'm excited about. Before I answer that, Rachel, I did want to respond to Tom Collins' question that I responded to in the chat, but Tom asked if the semifinal event, that February down select for Design Challenge, was also a gateway to advancement for Build Challenge teams, and the answer is no. So there will be no down select for Build Challenge teams before April of 2022. Hopefully that is clear.
Thank you, Holly. That's a great point for Build Challenge. We as Build Challenge will definitely have a presence at that semifinals event, but there is no down select, and there will be no evaluation at that point. But we will provide resources specific to Build Challenge teams during that event to go along with the opportunity to speak with industry partners that we have in our Career Connections event. So thank you for making that point.
So I'll start with that. In terms of things I'm super excited about for this next cycle of Solar Decathlon, I'm very pleased that we're going to be offering that new virtual semifinal event in February. That we've always wanted to give our student teams in the Design Challenge an opportunity to present whether or not you make it to the finals or not. And we finally can do that. Those skill sets of learning to present and convince and advocate for your ideas before our juries or their future clients is so important for all of our students to have that opportunity. So really excited about that February event. I'm very excited to be able to put the local build option into our fully into our Solar Decathlon event. As Michael mentioned, we sort of had to do it during COVID times. We moved everyone to a local build, which was a great opportunity for us to figure out how to do that and get some of the kinks out. So you can thank the 2020 Build Challenge teams for helping us get the kinks out of that. We really have a good system in place now for the local build and really bringing Solar Decathlon and all the excitement of it to local communities around the world, across the country and around the world. Also very excited about our 20th anniversary and some of the activities that we'll be planning and carrying out, particularly with our alumni, and really celebrating their accomplishments over the past 20 years. And I would say our new divisions and expansion of divisions in the Design Challenge. The last thing I'll mention, we really want to see teams participate in those retrofits. Most of the buildings out there in the world are already there, right? 99.9% of our buildings are already out there, and those are the buildings that need to see upgrades, need to move to a zero energy or near zero energy status. So we're excited to add that as part of this competition, and certainly with the IPCC report that came out yesterday, lots of added impetus and encouragement for us to work as quickly as we can to build these skills in our next generation building professionals. So really hope all of you will strongly consider participating in Solar Decathlon with your students. And as Rachel mentioned, we're all available. I'm certainly very available to answer questions or chat with you about the competition if you would like to reach out. Thanks, Rachel.
Thank you, Holly, and thank you everyone for participating today. We hope you have a great day. We'd be happy to take more questions at solodecathlon@ml.gov, and we'll see you at Ready, Set, Solar Decathlon. Thanks.